Time for another episode of Day Drinking and Tarot. And today we are at a really cool place called George and Gather in Chandler, Arizona. And I cannot wait to check this place out. It opened just a couple of months ago and it's got a wine list that reads like a novel. So let's talk a little transformation, some tarot. Join me. Gather is an absolutely incredible place to be, and they have such an incredible wine list. They've got wines by the bottle in their market, so you can take these home, and they also have a really long list of wines by the glass. So I have chosen the right place, and as I'm waiting for my fabulous server Dylan to cook up what wine he's going to bring to me, we are going to talk a little bit about the Wheel of Fortune. And unfortunately, I don't have the card with me in this moment right now because Dylan took it upon himself to be very studious about this. And he asked if he could take the card with him to determine what the wine is. So I'll show you the card in a second. But basically what we want to know about the Wheel of Fortune, that number 10, in the major arcana, is that it's about luck, chance, how outside forces affect our lives. It's about synchronicity. I like to say this is the Harry Potter liquid luck card. And this is also about divine order. And it is the synchronicity and the divine order that we are going to be talking about today in relation to this card. Dylan has fabulously agreed to come on camera and talk to us about this wine that he's chosen for the Wheel of Fortune. And everyone, this is Dylan. Dylan, what have you got for me for the Wheel of Fortune?
So we have this wonderful card that she presented, and I thought maybe I'd take a peek at our glass list here. So this is a Val d'Ajay GSM blend out of Sonoma, California by Joel Ladd. And so he does a fantastic blend here. I've never heard of the Great Val d'Ajay prior to this. GSM though, Grenache, Mourvedre, Syrah, those are a very popular blend in the Rhone Valley in France. He is a French winemaker, I believe, and he wanted to combine both of them. Now, relating to the card, I thought bottle-wise, this was very aesthetically similar and kind of fit with sort of the collage look. It's just kind of like, you can kind of see the randomness of it a little bit, and they kind of go together. On top of that, I did notice the card was like sort of angelic with kind of the lighter divinities and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, this would actually work out great because you'll notice that this is a 12% alcohol red. This is quite light for a red. Now, granted, like maybe a Pinot Noir is like 13%. In the hot summer as it is right now, you'll notice just red on the color. It's pretty translucent. The body is on the lighter side. Super easy to drink. If you are going to enjoy a red, that's going to be very easy to sip on in a hot day. Some people just cannot do a Cabernet on a very hot day. I mean, granted, that's such a heavy thing, but I figured that would just mix with this, with the lightness and the airy quality. This is going to be sitting very light on the palate. Still great aromas that are going to sit really well. But it's, I think, a fantastic wine that will go out with this. So hopefully you enjoy. That's the whole goal of this, despite if it makes sense or not. But the idea is if you want to take another sip after having the first one, hopefully that means it's a good wine.
Oh, I love it, Dylan. I love it. Dylan, this was perfect. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to try this fabulous wine as we explore our Wheel of Fortune card. I absolutely love this. And I was laughing the whole time he was talking about how on a really hot day like today, I think it's 102 here in the valley. It's too hot for a cab. It's almost never too hot for a cab for me. As you guys know, I love a cab, but this is delightful. And when we talk about that Wheel of Fortune energy, it is about change. And sometimes that means things come out of our, it's not what we expect. It comes out of the blue, how outside forces affect us. And I love that he was so game for this. That just makes me so excited. But that he was really knowledgeable. And not only was he looking for matching the aesthetics of the bottle to the card, but he was also looking to get a wine that really represented a lot of the characteristics of this. And this wine definitely, it changes with each aroma. It changes with each sip. It's light, and yet it's got a little bit of body to it, which I really like. I taste some wonderful fruit flavors in here, but I also taste a little bit of pepper. And I think that is, in many ways, a lot of what the Wheel of Fortune is about. You have to be in flow. And I think it's really perfect, the perfect thing to talk about when we talk about synchronicity and divine order. So you guys know that I am an A-type, and I like to, I get it in my head, I'm going to go, I'm going to do this thing, it's going to be amazing, let's go, this is awesome. And not everyone beats to the tune of my drum. Not everyone gets it, and that's okay. That's just life in general. Today, I was supposed to actually meet a friend at a different restaurant. And at the last minute, I said to her, you know what? I've been doing a little bit of research. Would you mind if we went to this George and Gather place? Because I really feel like I want to film a segment. And I feel like there's something here for me. And I listened to the synchronicity. I listened to that, I want to say the divine order. I didn't bulldoze. I did not, I want to say, get it in my head that things needed to be a certain way. I just felt at the last minute that even though when we made the plans for the other place, that it was going to be very exciting, nothing wrong with the place. And in fact, I'm sure you will see it at another time on another segment. I just kind of felt like, I was thinking about my Uncle George today. I was dreaming about him. And then I saw this George and Gather come up in my search because I knew I was meeting friends in Chandler. And I thought, this is the place I need to go. So there's a synchronicity. I dreamt about my Uncle George, who is a loved one in spirit now. He is transitioned. He's been transitioned for a number of years now. And he comes in every once in a while. He comes in when my cousin might be struggling or I just need to connect with her. He comes in just to say hi. He comes in to remind me about different things. And I feel like he came in today to lead me to this restaurant where I got someone who was willing to come on camera and do a little feature. So this is the beauty of being open to the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm going to say to you, in my transformational journey, the current one, as well as I want to say the overarching transformational journey in my life, the Wheel of Fortune is a card that has made me a little bit nervous from time to time. Why? Because things are out of my control. It's unpredictable. The wheel throws the wrench in the works, right? It's throwing a monkey in the circus, or the monkey gets out of the tent in the circus and creates a little stir. And you might be thinking, okay, I want all of my ducks in a row and everything has to be a certain way. Wheel of Fortune says, wait a second, that's not what life is actually about. Life is about shift and change. Life is about not always knowing exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. But it shows up in those ways to give us an opportunity to learn about ourselves and to be able to say, you know what? Change isn't always that bad. Change doesn't have to be scary. Change can actually be a good thing. And sometimes when we get a little too comfortable with something, the Wheel of Fortune comes in and spins things up. I'm seeing in my mind's eye, and this might not be the best analogy here, but I'm seeing the Hunger Games, and I think it was the second Hunger Games, when they show up, in the arena, and the clock goes, and all of a sudden everything gets shifted. So they thought they knew where they were going, and all of a sudden the whole I don't know what to call it. The whole thing just shifts and everybody ends up in a different space. Some people land up in the water, and this all happens before they even know what the hell is going on, right? So yeah, Wheel of Fortune represents, I want to say, sometimes the chaos that can show up in change. But it doesn't have to be chaotic. It can be seen as part of the adventure. And I feel like that's why it's so important for a control freak type like me to not get so caught up in the way things are supposed to be and to allow in a little more of that divine order. One of the things that I feel is so important in my own transformational journey, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there watching this can relate to this. Sometimes life will throw us a curveball. When I got that message in August of last year that my rent was going to increase by $700 a month, and I had that moment of panic, I could have done a number of different things with that. I could have cried, sobbed, kicking and screaming, thrown a tantrum. I could have not listened to my guides, to my intuition. I could have chosen to stay put where I was at detriment to myself, because I was afraid of the change, the shift. But instead, I said, wait a second. There's an intuitive reason why this is happening. And I need to be open to the synchronicity that is showing up in my space at this time. And that was the real clue, the real key. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Intuition is the intuitive knowing, the inner guidance. It's our connection and our communication with our high self and with our guides, or we could call that the psychic as well. But intuition, just the inner knowing that something's up. The synchronicity that comes through on that is the result when you are paying attention to what is coming through and you are acting on that intuitive thought that's coming through. The synchronicity is the invitation for you to say, okay, here's the next step. You heard the message, you received the exciting shift that the universe is bringing to you, if you choose to see it that way. The change is happening. The change is coming, whether you want it to or not. Here it is. How would you like to greet it? How would you like to greet the day? And that synchronicity is, I want to say, the opportunity, the validation of that, the limitless, boundless opportunity to be able to move forward into the adventure and to see what the universe is deliciously cooking up for you. So when the Wheel of Fortune comes into your world and into your life, especially when we're talking about a transformative period of time, you want to really be thinking about, why is this showing up for me? There's a reason. And I can see it as liquid luck. I can see it as everything is happening for me. Everything is happening for my highest and best, if I choose to look at it in this way. I can also choose to dig my heels in, to be in resistance and to say, oh my God, no, I'm going to stop this change because I just don't want the change, or I'm not ready for it, or this isn't the right thing. And in some instances, the Wheel of Fortune is going to come up to recommend that, to give you that option. But I'm going to say to you, more often than not, the Wheel of Fortune is coming in to say, hey, it's time to switch some things up. You're too comfortable, or you're not learning, or you're missing the magic that is out there for you because you're sitting in this level of comfortability, right? We can get too comfortable. That's just the nature of it. We can get too comfortable where we're at. We can get frozen. We can get stuck. Wheel of Fortune says, no, I got you. I'm not going to let that happen. You're here to live this incredible life, to make these amazing decisions, to have a choose your own adventure experience. And don't worry, I got your back. If you do get stuck, I'm going to throw in a little change and see what you do with it. Because at the end of the day, it's all in how we choose to respond to what shows up for us, rather than what we're reacting to. So I ask you, where in your life is the Wheel of Fortune coming up? And where are you maybe resisting? Where can you maybe open up more to that choose your own adventure approach? Where can you recognize that all is happening in divine order and timing because it's happening for you? Life wants you to have the most amazing, incredible experiences. Life wants you to experience life on your terms, not necessarily on life's terms. but you have to be willing to choose it. You have to be willing to see it in that way, to believe it inside of you, that the universe is here for good.
So I get asked all the time from clients, this weird thing happened to me. Am I crazy or am I psychic? And I always want to say to them, no, you're not crazy. You're absolutely experiencing psychic phenomenon. So let's explore if you have some weirdness going on in your life that isn't saying that you're crazy, but actually means that you got some psychic ability. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and let's figure out whether you are psychic or not. I believe my trusty cohort Keone has some questions that you guys have submitted since our last episode, and I'm so excited that you did that. So Keone, hi, how are you?
I am doing great, Stacy. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I'm living the dream.
Living the dream. Okay, that's
living the dream. So what questions do we have from people so that I can determine whether it's a psychic energy thing or whether it's something else entirely?
This is what's so funny. We do this segment where I don't pre-tell you what the questions are, and you just said you're living the dream, and that's one of the big ones I have. So we get a lot of stuff on dreams.
Oh, sure.
So one of the first ones on here is, I know my aunt called it dream walking, where someone experiences something in a dream about somebody else, and that thing actually happens.
Oh, sure.
Are they psychic? That's what Brenda wants to know. And it jogged my memory. I had a dream many years ago, and I called my bishop. I said, hey, I dreamed we're at the Dade County Youth Fair. He goes, wait, I did too. Were you wearing a red shirt and green pants? I said, yeah, and I don't know why. And then we were going over the dream. We were having the same exact dream. And my aunt, because she's a dream person, she said you two connected in the dream world and had the dream together. And I was like, okay, scary. But
yeah, tandem dreaming.
That's only happened once. This lady is saying she's constantly having dreams about other people and events, and then those things actually happen.
Yeah, that's definitely psychic energy. It's precognition. And the reason why there's so much of that in the dream world is because when we are in the dream world, we are not, we're not like in the body. We're not in our heads, in our minds. We're not using our like rational, logical left brain energy. And so it's the perfect scenario for our guides to shoot the shit with us, to pass on information and messages, because we're not blocking it with that, I want to say, that conscious thought. And that is really where a lot of the magic happens and a lot of the shift and change can happen. It's kind of like if you want to learn something in a quicker period of time than what it would take for you to, for example, memorize it. You record it once and then you play that over and over again during a meditative state or as you're sleeping. And, you know, it's the closest thing to osmosis. Obviously, osmosis is putting something on the skin and it absorbing, but it's not an exact analogy, but close enough, right? It's you are open. You are not blocking the things that are connected to the spiritual, because the spiritual stuff, you can't always prove it, right? Like you can't always, what do they say? I'll believe it when I see it. The metaphysical world says, you'll see it when you believe it. And that's really what it's about. So yeah, I mean, I love that term dream walking. That's really significant. And I want to point out that when you're having a tandem dream like that, sometimes you can, like lucid dreaming, you can go into a dream with that intention, but often when it just sort of happens randomly, you are visiting that person. You're just visiting them in a different dimensional space. We are multidimensional beings, and it's the dream state that allows us to go there because the conscious mind isn't blocking it. So yeah, that's super cool that there were tandem dreams going on, and that when you are dreaming about another person and that thing happens, you are getting a precognitive vision. You're being given that information, for whatever reason, to either let that person know, or sometimes your guides are just trying to oil the, prime the pump, so to speak, with your psychic ability and how you're able to receive that. So yes, you're absolutely using your spidey senses. And to that point, that is how a lot of people discover their psychic ability in the first place, is through the dreams that they have that come true. So again, it's the path of least resistance for our guides to speak to us.
And that's not always the dream where you fall asleep at night. Sometimes it's daydreaming as well, right?
Absolutely. It's any kind of state where you're more meditative, like you're a little fuzzy, you're a little foggy. I think of those magic eye artwork things that were kind of big back in the day, where you would just see this like mess and conglomeration of colors, but if you sort of stared at it, you weren't staring at it directly, you were sort of staring at it a little bit off to the side with a softer gaze, suddenly you could see the picture. It's the same concept. When our dream state, or when our moods, when we are open, we're not fully, I want to say, like fully connected to the body. You can eventually develop that. Clearly, that's what I do. But I wasn't able to do that always. I was able to do that. I just didn't know how, right? So the magic eye, the mind's eye kind of situation, the soft gaze, the training yourself into that. That's why meditation is so effective, because it puts you into that no mind, or that void state, and that void space. It's all about being in the energy of the potential rather than in the energy of the tangible and the tangible and the physical. It's very hoobity floob, very metaphysical.
Wait, say it again. It's very what?
It's very hoobity floob. It's very metaphysical, very out there. You have to kind of suspend your disbelief to get there.
Oh, you're going to love this one. Okay. You're going to love this one. This is from Carlito.
Oh my God. Siri's talking to me. You must have said something to trigger her. I'm so sorry. Repeat what you said.
No, you're
confirming everything that we're talking about here.
I hate when I have a person in my class and I'm teaching online and their name is like Alex or Alexis, and then the Alexa starts going off.
Yes. Oh my God.
Hey, all right, Stacy, I think you're going to love this one, okay? Carlito says, I always know when my girlfriends are going to break up with me. Am I psychic? And I'm thinking, no, Carlito, you just know when they're tired of your shit.
Oh, Carlito, what do I say to that? I'm going to say maybe a little self-awareness journey in order. Maybe doing a little deep dive to see what's happening here. What's going on? I'm going to say to you, Carlito, probably not so much the psychic, and more so the I think I need to step it up a little bit. I think it's time for me to bring my A game.
So it's more of the self-awareness. It's two things that, and you know these phrases when they say, number one, you got to learn how to read the room.
Yes, exactly. Learning how to read the room.
And you've got to know when you've overstayed your welcome.
Yes. Yeah, it's time. It's time for me to move on. Greener pastures.
Oh my gosh. There's some doozy ones in here, Stacy, but I'm going to go back to a serious one. I might throw one of these. The funny ones that people are asking, and it's everyday life stuff. Then, those are the ones I love reading the most. They make me laugh while I'm just reading the emails.
Oh, okay? Sure.
Yes. And again, if you want to send in your question, you're going to email Keoni Productions, that's Keoni Productions at gmail.com, and ask your question. I am I psychic?
Am I psychic?
Am
Yes.
I psychic?
And the reason why we have you send it to Keone directly is so that I don't receive it beforehand. I don't want to know about it beforehand, so I can be completely clear. I call it like a blind read. So this is the best way to sort of handle that situation. So yeah, Keone Productions at gmail.com.
Now, this is a really good one. It's a twin one. It's a twin one, and it's not Carlito, it's Carletta. She is a twin, and she says, is it natural for twins to be psychic, or is that just the thing because me and my twin finish each other's sentences in our head?
Ooh, so I think the twin thing is a really unique situation and scenario because you guys come from the same DNA, right? So I think there's a little bit of that, but I would say to you, yes, there is psychic ability there. And I want to say you've got an extra enhancement on top of that because you both share uniquely certain components about your body and your DNA that, you know, the average person doesn't have. So there's a strong connection between you and your sister, you and your twin, right? That maybe you don't have that same level of psychic ability or awareness with, say, your mother or your best friend. It doesn't mean that you're not psychic. I feel like as twins, you just have like a little extra superpower, like a little power boost around that. So that's really cool. I am not a twin. I have known twins off and on in my life, and I find the whole concept completely fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And from that psychic perspective, I really believe it's like you guys have the super boost is what it is, which I'm envious of.
And if you're watching twins, you can kind of see if you're just observing them, you can see the moments where they're talking to themselves.
Oh yeah, they know. You can tell that they're having that conversation. And what's really fascinating, and people who, and I don't want to get into this topic very deeply, but twin flames, not in like a kooky way, just sort of like honest to goodness twin flame relationships, I have been able to notice as well that like you have the same dreams, you're finishing each other's sentences, you're aware, you know, you might be miles apart and you are aware when the twin or the twin flame is in danger and in trouble. There's definitely, I want to say, an open psychic channel there for sure in some really powerful ways. So yeah, I think the whole thing is fascinating.
And then my last one, Stacy, this is an old timey one. Michael said, I didn't know if this was appropriate for Mythbusters because it's not really busting a myth, but is this a psychic ability when you hear older generations, they'll say something like, my ear itches, and every time my ear itches, someone's pregnant. Or every time, every time my knee hurts, it's going to rain. Is that a psychic ability? Because he says, we've met people that every time my aunt's ear itches, someone in the family's pregnant.
So here's what I'm going to say about that. In general, that's like an old wives' tale. That's a superstition. But I will say to you, because it is in sort of popular culture, what can happen is people who do have psychic ability, they hear that, they resonate with it as truth, and then it becomes their tell. So like, I'll give you an example for me. I know when I'm connecting with an archangelic energy versus when I'm connecting with a loved one in spirit. How do I know the difference in those feelings? Because I don't see them like as people or beings as much as I experience them in light and colors and feeling, a presence of sorts. How do I know the difference between the two of them? Because my body responds with a different type of chill. So the archangels, I feel almost like an icy hot, like a Vicks Vapor Rub or like a BioFreeze kind of experience. And I can tell that that is an archangelic presence. When I have a loved one in spirit coming into me, I get chills up the front of my legs in some random way. So this isn't an exact analogy, but it gets the point going that other mediums who connect with angelic energies and loved ones in spirit may experience the same thing, but they're experiencing it in a different way. For them, they don't get chills. They actually see a being that presents itself, or they hear a particular sound, and then they know, oh, this is the being or the type of being that I'm connecting with. So to kind of give a little more explanation, and hopefully it's not confusing. Like if you have like an itchy palm and that means you're going to get money. If you've heard that over and over and over again, and that's been kind of programmed into your psyche, that becomes a tell. That becomes your affirmation sign, your validation that, oh, okay, yeah, that my guides are going to be sending me money. Awesome. But that might not be the tell for everybody. It's the way that you've interpreted and allowed that information to come in. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it, that's going to affect what that looks like. Does that make sense, or did I just make it so much more convoluted?
No, but well, because it sounds like to me where it could be one or both or a mixture of real and the placebo effect, if you want to
Yes.
call
Yes, exactly. I
it.
can tell you, I've had my palm gets itchy multiple times, and there's never really been a connection to money. But I will tell you, the first time I connected with Archangel Raphael, he made my big toe itch. Like over the course of 3 days, whenever I was trying to meditate and connect with Archangel Raphael, I thought I was failing miserably at it and that I just didn't understand what the fark I was doing. Because every time I would sit down, I would set the intention, I would invite in Archangel Raphael, and I would go into my meditative happy space, and I would get out of it so quickly because my stupid big right toe would itch. And I was like, I'm so irritated by this. I don't understand. And I don't even know. I think I probably mentioned it to someone, and they were like, well, hey, maybe that's Archangel Raphael's tell. Like that's his way of communicating. And I was like, why the hell would he choose my big toe as a way? But for me, like, that's what I needed. I needed something that you can't explain away, because, I'm a little bit of a reluctant psychic and a skeptic psychic, right? So
Stacey, be happy with that. It could be something a lot worse.
oh, it could be something totally a lot worse. And I've learned my relationship with Archangel Raphael tends to have more humor. He's very humorous in his way that he connects with me. And part of his work with me is to keep me not so serious about everything all the time. So that was one of those things, is he chose something that I couldn't ignore, that I couldn't explain away, but that eventually I'd clue in and get the message. And he doesn't communicate with me in that way anymore. That was just for that particular period of time. But yes, they work with what you give them to work with.
It's a spot you can't just ninjally scratch all while on camera.
Yes, and I'm sure there are people out there who've had those experiences as well. So absolutely, you're not cuckoo. If it happens once, it's a one-off. If it happens twice, okay, it might just be random. But if it's happening on a regular basis, pay attention to it, because it's somebody trying to get your attention. Shalom all, Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive. So excited to be doing this aligned Astro chat for all of us today. The last one was a huge hit. So thank you to everyone who commented and sent me private messages about it. I wasn't really sure how it was all going to fly. It was kind of my first foray into that. So I really appreciate you guys and your positive feedback. So, okay, we are going to do the same thing again. We're going to tap into the energies, and I'm using the Dream Ritual Oracle cards here by Teresa Chung. And let's just see what we got. We're gonna start with Aries and go all the way through the astrological sign. And what the fuck do you guys need to know, Aries, in terms of what is coming up for you? Adventure! Oh my God, I love this. Okay, so the most important thing for you guys to consider right now is how you are embracing the adventure of life. And PS and FYI, the adventure of life doesn't always mean that it's going to look a certain way or look the way you think an adventure is going to look. Everything about life is an adventure. Waking up in the morning, being aware of that first breath that you're taking symbolizes the beginning of a new adventure. From that perspective, every breath can be an opportunity for a new experience. And I want to say, what is your intention around it? How do you choose to greet the day? How do you choose to greet that breath? How do you choose to create the adventure that you're walking on? I'm seeing that Choose Your Own Adventure book when we were kids. And if you're younger than me, you don't understand this, but we have a lot of, you can do the video games do the same thing, right? It's the Choose Your Own Adventure. You have path A or path B. That's what you want to be looking at, Aries. If you don't, I feel like you're going to miss out on some pretty incredible aha moments. So keep that in mind. Tauruses, my fabulous Tauruses, you need to prepare. And I know you guys are used to having all of your I's dotted and T's crossed, right? You're used to this. So you're probably thinking to yourself, what do I need to prepare for? I'm already prepared. I'm good. Here's what I'm hearing. When we're talking about preparation for you guys, it's about throwing out everything that you've known up to this point and preparing for the fact that things are not going to go according to plan. So you want to have a plan B. And that's what I feel like this is really about. This is going to be the type of, this is going to be a period of time for you where things aren't going to be what they seem. Trust in the process and understand, as we're looking at this big egg that is forming here, you are getting ready to give birth to something new. That's exciting. You don't need to prepare in terms of having all of your I's dotted and T's crossed. You just have to prepare the way that the Fool card prepares. I want to go on a hike, so I'm going to have a couple of extra bottles of water, a little blanket in my backpack. I'm going to bring an extra phone battery just in case I need it. I've got my phone, and I've got a couple of protein bars in there. I got proper shoes on my feet. Let's go do this. You can pack light. Prepare by packing light and having a plan B. Be in flow. And now we go to our fabulous Geminis. And what have we got for you guys? Gratitude. Okay, this is going to be a rougher period of time for you Geminis. And I feel like the rougher time is only because you are having things coming up from the depths of the soul kind of energy, things bubbling to the surface. And I feel like it's important for you guys to acknowledge what comes up, what is bubbling up from the surface, without taking things too seriously. And the way that you can do that is by recognizing, okay, I don't have to do a deep dive around this. That's why it's coming up, so that I can release it and I can be grateful for what it has shown me and taught me, how it has served me up to this point. And I can be extremely grateful for the fact that I am now releasing it and I'm done with it. Stick a fork in me. This is how you want to proceed. So gratitude for what it has created for you, how it has served you, and extra gratitude for the fact that it's no longer your circus and your monkeys. Ooh, I love that. Me being a Gemini moon, I need to know that. Oh, and let me just say, you can watch these for your sun, moon, and rising if you know that. So my sun sign is Virgo, my moon sign is Gemini, and my rising sign is Libra. So I'm going to watch all three of those to get my message for this particular time. Okay, now we are at our Cancers, and you guys have freedom. Oh, I feel like this is a window of time for you guys where there really is less responsibility placed upon you. So I want to say you want to be really cautious because you're used to having a lot of responsibility. You're used to taking on a lot of responsibility for others. This is a window of time where you're getting a bit of a break. But if you don't accept that break, if you don't choose to receive all that that break is giving you, then it's on you. If you have things that are overwhelming you, if you have people that are coming to you and adding even more onto your plate than ever before, I feel like the freedom is your choice. You have to choose it. It's available to you, and it's going to be made available to you in a pretty obvious way. We're looking at this big hot air balloon here, right? So it's kind of hard to miss a hot air balloon. These things, these opportunities are going to be super obvious to you. It's your choice whether you choose the freedom, choose to receive the freedom it's bringing, or whether you want to hang on and attach yourself because you feel some, I don't know, some sense of martyrdom perhaps, or some sense of I can't let go because I've attached how I matter to this experience. So pay attention to that. Leos. Okay, Leo, this is going to be a really interesting time for you guys as well. Oh, I love your card is Inspire. You are going to have an opportunity to inspire others, but some of you, I feel, are in kind of a curmudgeon-y mode. And a lot of it, I feel, has to do with the fact that you're comparing yourself and your journey to another person's experience or another person's happiness and joy. And, you know, no judgment here. We all have those moments where we're like, what the hell? I did all the same things and, you know, I failed at that, or it didn't work out for me and it's working out for this other person. I feel like the guidance here is for you to be the inspiration. And when you are feeling a little curmudgeon-y about it, really tune in and say, why am I feeling curmudgeon-y about it? If I really believe that anything that is meant for me is going to be here for me, it's not going to pass me by, then I want to bring in trust. And when I trust what is presenting itself as being there for me, happening on my behalf, then I can be inspired. I don't have to be intimidated. I don't have to be insecure about what's coming up, and I can inspire and support what successes I'm seeing in other people. That's going to be a big one for you guys. And not saying that you aren't, you know, supporters of others. Again, we're all human, and sometimes we just think, God, this sucks. What am I missing? When is it my turn? Where's my cookie? Right? I get you. All right, Virgos, what do we got for you guys? Oh, barrier. So this particular window of time, I feel like this is about you having to choose your own path. This is about you not taking no for an answer. Let me caveat this. Not taking no for an answer from an aware space. What do I mean by that? Being conscious and aware of, is this a barrier that is from my guides, from my dream team that's saying, choose another path, this isn't the right path for you? Or is this a worldly barrier that is being presented so that I can find a way to overcome it? You have to choose your path, but you need to be discerning about what that barrier actually means. Is it here to help me from the perspective of learning how to overcome it? Or is it in my way so that I can pause and breathe, regroup, and evaluate whether or not this is the path for me? So I want to say, when you are moving forward, when you are moving ahead on something, just take that extra step to tune in. Use that discernment to determine whether this barrier is, well, the barrier is here to help you regardless. It's just what way it's trying to steer you. Libras. Ooh, heal. So what I'm getting for you guys is that this is a time where you really want to not bury your heads in the sand around your wounds. And I don't want to give you the impression that you know, dun, 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 you're going to feel all this heaviness and darkness. But I will say to you, this is a time where any wounds that you have been burying your head in the sand around, that you have compartmentalized, that you have said, not today, maybe tomorrow, it's the day of reckoning. It's going to come up. And I feel like it's important that you remember that it's coming up to help you. It's coming up because it wants to be released. But there is a little bit of work on your part to acknowledge that and to also determine, I want to say, why it's been showing up for you. So this heal message is coming up to say, know your why, or know the why of this wound. Because when you know the why of this wound, then you're at the heart of it, and then you can understand it and you can release it and let it go. So anything that you've been burying your head in the sand about, you're not going to be able to bury it anymore. It's coming up. It's coming to the surface. So just be prepared for it. It doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to be bad. I feel like that's why you're getting told about it right now, so that you can prepare. Scorpios, revisit. Okay, I'm seeing like this mystical, fantastical, sort of dreamlike space and place that you guys are in. And I feel like there's a part of you that wants to stay there. There's a part of you that wants to get lost in that, to not be in the body, to not be physically present. And I also feel like you can use that to your advantage to say, let me do the revisiting in that space, because I can recreate the story. I can recreate the circumstances in my mind. I can reconfigure things and then bring it back into the body so that I can make use of what it is that I've revisited. I feel almost this energy of like major manifestation mode for you guys, where I don't like the story that I'm telling myself. So let me go into my imagination space and rework it. And even if it's something that has happened in the past, we can choose to take a different perspective on the story around it. And then it makes it easier for us to let it go, to move forward, and to integrate the lessons. So that's what I feel this revisiting is. You're going to be revisiting some older lessons and older patterns, and you're revisiting it in the dream state so that you can make the reality state, you can really manifest what you really want out of it, rather than kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks or getting stuck in the same story. Sagittarius, yours is calm. This is interesting. I feel like some of you guys really do need to take a chill pill. Some of you are really very driven, not just motivated with forward momentum. I keep hearing you're very driven. And sometimes when we are driven, we can be like bulls in china shops. And I'm hearing it's very clear for you guys to just take a breath. Be calm. We're seeing this little teacup. So stop for a moment to do the ritual of having the tea. You know, you got to boil the water. You got to put the tea leaves in the bag. You got to then, pour the water once it's boiled. You got to steep the tea for 10 or 20 minutes. And in our world, everything is go, go, go. I want to say this is an invitation to say, don't be so driven. Shift that driven energy into more of a calculated motivation, being smart about your choices. And you're going to get that clarity through the ritual, through taking that extra 10 minutes in the morning where your mind is racing. You'd rather get started on something. No, take the time to do the ritual. The rest will happen. It's still there. It's going to be there 10 minutes from now or 20 minutes from now. Enjoy the ritual. That seems really important. And I feel like that's going to be really nourishing for you Sagittarians. And nourishment, I feel, is where it's at for you guys. Okay, Capricorns. What have we got for you guys? Woo, synchronicity. So this is a period of time where you got to have your eyes wide open. Pay attention to what is coming your way. Pay attention to what is crossing your path, because nothing is happening by accident. I want to say to you, you're going to be bombarded by a lot of these synchronicities. But if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to miss the boat. And I want to say, I keep seeing all of these synchronicities being connected, almost like Cassiopeia and like all all the star systems, right? That we can draw lines to the stars that create the symbol, right? I'm feeling that all of these synchronicities have connection to a dream that you are bringing to life. So you don't want to miss a puzzle piece, right? You don't want to leave one of the stars out because then the shape isn't fully formed, right? It creates more confusion. So be open to the synchronicities and also understand that, okay, that synchronicity definitely means something and it's going to be connected to the thing that I'm creating. So let me open myself to that and let me lean into learning what that is on in a more direct and a clear way. Okay, Aquarius. Ooh, trust. So, it's interesting because my Aquarians, you beat to the tune of your own drum. You tend to not trust in, I want to say, the world at large. You tend to just kind of walk your path. And it's almost like it's surprising when you discover another human on that path that is trustworthy. And I don't mean that you're, sort of distrustful by nature. It's more of a trust and verify, right? Like you're not gonna, trust is earned, not given. That's what I feel is the approach that you guys take. And what I keep hearing here for you guys right now is that there are two particular experiences that you guys are going to have, engagements that you're going to have with other people that are going to give you an opportunity on whether or not you choose to step into that challenge of trust. And the option is there for you to learn how to overcome challenges around trusting people. This feels like it's going deep because these choices that you're going to make are going to affect the foundation that you're creating for yourself moving forward. It's connected to this next chapter. I also want to say to you, no, we can't always trust other people, but we can absolutely always trust ourselves and trust source. So the biggest message in that is seeing source in other people, seeing the light of source in other people, and finding a way to be able to trust in that rather than in trusting in the fallibility of the person themselves. And Pisces, we've got request. You guys definitely need to ask for what it is that you want and be unapologetic about that. What's interesting about this particular card is we have an egg timer. And this is a little old fashioned. I don't know that there are egg timers out there anymore. I think people probably just use their phones to time things, out. You just need to know that, if you're boiling an egg, a hard boiled egg is perfect at 12 minutes. So that's all you need to know, right? But I feel like it's showing this sort of egg timer, old time symbolism, because we need to go back to the basics. We don't need anyone or anything else to be clear on what it is that we want. We just need to give ourselves permission to do the ask and to do the very clear, concise, direct, not beat around the bush ask. So this is a particular period of time where you want to be unapologetic. You want to be honest with yourself, because when you're honest with yourself, you are able then to be honest with others. When you are honest with yourself, you know what it is that you need. You can write it down and there's clarity in that. And then you can just read off what you wrote when you're asking for what it is that you need. And if there's someone there that doesn't give you what it is that you need, that they don't honor the request, thank you, next. Moving on. Don't get hung up on a particular person or a particular situation needing to look the way that you think it needs to look. Nope, go beyond that. But ask for what you want unapologetically. Wow, this is going to be a really interesting window of time for all of us. I hope you enjoyed that aligned Astro chat. Alignment is the key, folks. That is what we are, I want to say, kind of here to do, especially in this particular window of time that we're finding ourselves in. So lean into these messages, understand that you are aligning to your highest and best. You're aligning to your soul purpose, direction, path, and destiny. And to borrow what we just said with the Pisces, be unapologetic about it and just move ahead. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time for another segment of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life and Transform Well.